still interested in pursuing the characters a little bit. Let me turn to Kevin and ask him, again, putting him on the spot, not to give away too much, who would you say were some of the more compelling characters in the book that you might want to entice the group by making reference to?
Well, my interest when I picked up the book was initially disbelief at how much it related to the path that I'd been on and the research that I'd done. Well, one of the first stops that I had, I was introduced by a good friend to Lieutenant General Ron Burgess, who's the 3-star head of the Defense Intelligence Agency. And so I got to go into his office and meet with him, and he gave me some good advice and some suggestions and some thoughts. And so having the DIA analyst as the main character with Kate was, it fit actually the path that we were taking.
The fact that his report exists, that it was commissioned by the Defense Department, is the most important thing out of this for me personally, and that is that arenas in the government that deal with financial regulation are trying, there are pockets in there they're trying to have financing of terrorism be curtailed, and they have the knowledge base and the understanding of how to cut off funds flow, to freeze assets and so on and so forth, and we've seen that in the last few weeks, obviously, with respect to Libya. But the fact that Kevin's report was commissioned by the Department of Defense, which is not the arena that would normally look at those kind of issues, brings the whole discussion to a next phase, which is, this is warfare. We're entering an arena where other countries, other actors, other independent cells may act aggressively against this country in an act of war, as opposed to just in an act of trying to siphon money and hide it in a Swiss account. More importantly, I wanted to make the protagonist want somebody sitting in defense intelligence to make the point that this is not necessarily an exclusive domain of Treasury, let's say, for example, that this issue and the way it's presented in a warfare scenario is something that crosses the line of your response of interdisciplinary and also his report. And that's the issue at hand. We only got to know each other about a month ago, and I only was aware of his report about a month ago. And he was only aware of my book about a month ago. And so we traded papers. He read mine and I read his, and we, I have mine marked up, and it's got like little check marks and highlighting every place where I said, oh my God, it's in my book, it's in my book, and it just kept getting checked off every place around there, and it was quite literally amazing. And so we sat down for lunch after that and had that long discussion about it, and I think we were both left kind of amazed. But here's the thing, the clincher about that. How could two individuals, not necessarily with exactly the same backgrounds, but similar maybe arenas of expertise, particularly in finance, end up talking about the same things? When people ask, is this possible? Can it happen? Well, here's two individuals on a separate basis came up with a very similar scenario. And not in any coordinated fashion, but it just happened to be. That should begin to answer some of the question. And that's the basic message, I think, of the book, and I think of Kevin's report, is that I'm not going to say what happened, or did this happen yesterday, or is it happening tomorrow. The fact of the matter is, there is a path in place today that if someone studied it and put their attention to it, they could cause some considerable damage to our economy through some concerted action and cause some of this to happen.